So when you come to nutrition, obviously it is not just what we eat, it's also how we eat, when we eat, and what sequence we eat in, and how are we eating it as well. So it's all, if you put all together, it becomes kind of a mindful eating. So you're very mindful what you're eating. Like a lot of, currently what we do is we just buy something and eat. We don't even know what it is, what the ingredients are, what things are there inside. We just know it's a burger, but we don't know what exactly is there inside. But you pick up apple, I know it's apple. And apple doesn't come with any ingredient list, but a burger comes, or apple pie comes with ingredient list, apple juice comes with ingredient list. So what I'm saying is, eat what comes from the plant. There's a saying in our lifestyle medicine, and avoid or don't eat which comes from the manufacturing plant.
Okay.
Does it make sense? Yeah. Eat what comes from the plant, but avoid or don't eat which comes from the manufacturing plant. And because the apple doesn't have to tell you what calories it has and what ingredients it has, because it's natural. Yeah. And one more point now, because we're all talking about planetary health as well here. The same apple which our ancestors used to eat, they were much more nutritious. Do you agree with this?
Yes.
And much more better than the current ones. The reason is soil quality. So what I'm saying is, with the current soil quality, even we go for the best of the best nature's organic food, it's already not as good as it used to be. So think how bad the processed food will be. The apple pie made from the apple, think how bad it can be for you. So this is about mindful eating.
Sure.
So that's what I'm doing. So how bad it could be. So you mindfully think whatever you buy from grocery stores, or even whatever you're putting in your kitchen storage cupboards, whatever you keep in the fridge, you think, is it really necessary? What it is actually giving it to me? Is it giving me the good health, or is it taking me to the improper health, or is it taking me to a disease process? It might taste good, but it might not do good for you. So always think, this is about mindful eating. So that's one thing. So obviously that's the reason the nutrition depends upon the whole food. Whole food is like whole food. We know where it is coming from. And predominantly plant-based, because more you eat meat-based foods, they are prone to do some inflammation, the chronic inflammation, which can lead to, it can spoil your gut microbiome. There is a microorganisms which are friendly to you, but they start releasing bad chemicals, which could cause inflammation in the arteries. Again, it could go to heart health as well. And that's why they say predominantly plant-based as long as possible. And you might add some lean proteins like chicken and fish, but all depends upon what ethos you have got towards the food. If you are completely vegan, you want to do vegan for a different reason, that's fine. But if you keep it predominantly plant-based, 90% of your food every day you eat is plant-based, it's good enough to get optimal health as well. Again, there's two schools of thought. Some people say it's completely plant-based will be better. Again, it goes to you, it's up to you what you want to do. That's fine. That's about the quality of the foods. And second, next is sequencing of the foods. Like you might have seen people nowadays put the CGM, which is the glucose, like continuous glucose monitoring. They're all eating food and checking the glucose levels. Does this food spike my insulin or not? There's a lot of confusion. People are listening. What basically it means is there are three kinds of food. One is carbohydrates, which are part of the, like sugar belongs to that category, the macronutrient it is. And then the proteins, and then the fat. The proteins and the fat partially are made, our body can make them. But there are some part of the proteins and fat, like proteins is actually broken down to amino acids and fat is broken down to fatty acids. So some fatty acids we can make inside our body, some proteins we can make, some amino acids. But a lot of amino acids we need from outside. They are called essential amino acids, then essential fatty acids. So we have to consume them. But what we are consuming predominantly are carbohydrates here. And again, those carbohydrates are not the complex one. They're not the whole carbohydrates. We are simplifying them. Like a brown rice with the husk is a complete carbohydrate. It has got a fiber, it has got some vitamins in that, and some minerals in that. But when you take the husk out, when you take the brown rice, process it, and making it a simple white rice, it becomes a simple sugar or simple carbohydrate. Now this one is already devoid of all the good things which rice could have given you. But we are eating the simple processed thing. This spikes your insulin again and again. So one spikes and it drops down. As it drops down, you feel hungry again because it is not staying, doesn't stay that long. And so you keep on eating, overeating. So this is how the simple carbohydrates are the bad one. Bad in the sense they are processed ones. like sugar candies and pies, whatever you take for that, bread, all these things. But more you go towards complex carbohydrates, it's much better. Like eating a corn might be better than a popcorn.
Sure.
Something like that. So you know exactly corn is grown there and all that. It has got this thing and you can boil and eat them. But popcorn, putting oil, sugar, and salt. So you can imagine that's what we know. But there are a few other things gets added later. We never know.
Sure.
So eating whole food. So I told you plant-based, eating whole food, and sequencing. Why carbohydrates I'm telling is carbohydrates are the ones which release the insulin like highest, followed by proteins. And fat almost minimal. Okay. Now, every time you release insulin in your body when you're eating, it stores, because it's insulin, and the main function of insulin is to store the energy. So you eat, blood sugar is there in the blood. It goes and distributes all the sugar to the liver, to the muscle. Excess what you eaten goes to your tummy. That's how you keep on eating more and more sugar. But essential things we're not eating. Essential amino acids, essential fatty acids, we are not eating much. So if you look at the plate, if you want to know how they should eat, I always tell my own people whom I coach is that in a whole circular plate, when you eat, make sure the half of the plate is actually greens, all vegetables and fruits. We call it a rainbow. Rainbow it could be any different colors. Make it as varied color as possible on the plate. It could be red from the carrot, green from any salad, yellow from the peppers, like this. If you take at least 5 different colors or 4 different colors every time you eat, and fill it up at least 4/5 of that half plate as vegetables, and 1/5 as a fruit if you want to. Okay, and this you eat first. The sequence, I'm telling about sequencing.
Sure.
Okay, eat this first. Why eat this first? It has got complex carbohydrates already there. It has got phytonutrients. Phytonutrients, they are plant nutrients. They are much more powerful than the minerals and vitamins you get from the drugstores. And you're getting free. And you're getting in a pure form. And if you eat them, you don't need anything else from externally. Okay, and these food also contains fiber. And fiber is the most important thing we should eat, which is we are lacking to eat. Because we're eating carbohydrates, but we're eating the wrong ones. If you eat these carbohydrates, it gets you nutrients, it gets you carbohydrates, it gets you fiber. Why fiber? Fiber is very good for your gut microbiome. Like microbes which live in our gut, it's very good for them. If you provide the fiber to them, they provide you good molecules, which actually called short-chain fatty acids, which brings your insulin resistance down, or makes your insulin body sensitive, like more insulin sensitivity increases. So that's about why you should eat that thing.
Sure.
They're giving nutrients as well as. And second part, essential fat amino acids we need to eat. Now again, the ethos is predominantly plant-based. Keep the protein portion, what you eat every day, as a plant-based. And that plant-based could be anything, right from soya to tofu to chickpeas to lentils, or even if you're not vegan, you can also try paneer, eggs, and go to lean proteins in the meat like chicken and fatty fish. Not to the other meat. Again, obviously, it all depends on ethos. If you eat them, eat. Otherwise, you can do this. The good part is you keep cycling the source of the protein. Like what we eat normally is every day we eat chicken, for example, or every day we eat chickpeas. Then you get bored. Then you start eating, I need something different. But if you keep cycling the sources of protein every week, different week, every day differently a little bit, it gives you a good consistency as well. So you can also use edamame beans. If you go to cinema halls and all that, there they give this rather than popcorn. And even if some restaurants here, when you go, you get these as this thing. Obviously, you should not eat the covering of that. It should be shelled. And the inside those beans, they are a very good source of protein and very healthy as well. The reason I want anybody to eat the first half of the plate this way is they are nutrient dense. They're full of nutrients, but they're calorie less. Low calorie, nutrient dense. And if you look at half of the plate, the whole plate, if you eat half of the plate, you eat all that thing, and that's almost equal to 1 or 2 spoons of olive oil, or any oil for that matter. You can compare the calorie-wise. But nutrient-wise, you see, so much of nutrients are there. So for that, and then go to protein, keep it predominantly this thing. Then you go to next level, and then the plate is go to the healthy fats. You can have some nuts, or you can have some olives or avocado, anything, healthy fats. and then add some seeds, like people eat sunflower seeds, melon seeds, anything, just some seeds. And for omega-3, like omega-3 fatty acids are the good for heart. And the good source is obviously the fish or the fish oil, or you can start eating the chia seeds. Eating all these things, if you're still feeling hungry, then go for some simple carbohydrates which have been spoiling you for so long. You think, because if I tell somebody don't eat this, they will never do the other things. So if I've seen that in my coaching, if I tell them I'm not restricting you from what you want to eat. Somebody wants a gulab jamun at the end of the meal. That's fine, you can have it. But I want you to finish this sequence. But what happens eventually is they will stop eating gulab jamun. They'll follow the sequence, they get full by the time they reach protein or healthy fat and say, I don't need it. So this is the way changing the behavior. If I tell you don't eat gulab jamun, eat this, you will never eat it. Maybe you eat for a day or two. Okay. So this is the sequencing. Now you talked about intermittent fasting. I would like to call it as rather than intermittent fasting, I want to call it as time restricted eating. Okay. What I mean by time restricted eating is same. Again, there's a set time interval where you need to eat. You eat 3 times, 2 times, 1 time. It's up to you, depending upon how you have managed yourself so far. But maximum 12 hours people eat in a day. Okay. So 12 hours you need to fast. For example, if my last meal is somebody is not fasting, I'm telling you, again, obviously you have to take your doctor's decision depending upon how your health is, what medicines you are on, all that to be taken into consideration. So they should see their doctors before they start fasting. This is what general principles I'm telling you now, is that somebody who's not fasted, they can start with 12 hours fast, which is easy because 8 o'clock you finish a meal and you sleep. Next meal you have it at 9 o'clock in the morning, breakfast, or 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever. You already fasted for 12 hours. Only thing is we still snack because we end up sitting on the TV, in front of the TV, or start working in the night. Whatever is available, we start eating. That small discipline if you bring, you finish eating at last meal, then don't eat anything till the next. That's first thing to start. Even if you do that, you get benefits of any other so-called bigger fasting. You still get the benefits, but not as good as them. But you'll get the minimal basic what we require for our health. You get the fasting, the benefits. Then you slowly, what you do is the next day morning's meal, you start pushing by an hour. Like for a week, I'm taking breakfast at 9 o'clock in the morning. You push it to 10 next week. Week by week. Okay. Again, breakfast is when you fast, when you break your fast first time in the day. It doesn't have to be 7 o'clock breakfast, for example. Even if I eat my first meal of the day 12 o'clock in the noon, that's my breakfast. Okay. Now that you can combine with your lunch if you want, because the time is lunch time, but it is a breakfast. So eat breakfast like a king. People say, the first meal of the day, eat nicely. And during the daytime, in that 12 hours, the first meal is good because your metabolism is fully optimal state, because for last 12 hours, 13 hours, you're not given any work. So it's like motorway, like clear the motorway, everything, it becomes fast, like when reopened. Similarly, that needs rest because it restores, recovers everything, metabolic, this thing, and then everything is fine. And so the first meal, give it digests properly, it metabolizes properly, it does wonders if that meal. That's the reason I say eat like a king. And then slowly, the last meal should be as light as possible, but keep as less carbohydrate as possible as well, the last meal. The reason is the carbohydrate metabolism becomes weakened and weakened as the day progresses. If you take my fasting blood sugar in the morning, I might be normal. Like my fasting blood sugar might be normal in the blood. If the same thing, if I fast till evening and take my blood sugar in the evening, I'll be diabetic. That's what I'm saying. So the metabolism for carbohydrates is becoming weaker and weaker as the day progresses. So better you keep protein and rich, more protein food and complex carbohydrates, which are explained as a rainbow. Keep it for the more for the, even though you eat everything for each meal, but keep it more for the later. And that is about sequencing and the fasting. So once you develop this one, it is not about how long you fast. People tell about themselves, I fasted for 18 hours, 16 hours, 20 hours. It is not about how much you fasted. It is actually what you eat in between the fast. Because people eat any wrong things. I fasted for 18 hours, I can eat burger, pizza, this, that. Don't do that. Because your health actually depends upon what you eat, not what not you're eating. So what you eat, if you eat it better in a healthy way, even if you do 2 meals, 3 meals in that 10 hours, 12 hours, That's fine, because you are not stimulating insulin that much. Because all these foods which I'm telling, they are calorie less, nutrient dense, and they don't stimulate insulin that much as well. And it has been proven that they all are a good food for metabolism, for gut health, as well as for insulin sensitivity and preventing heart disease and all these things.
Sure.
One most important thing, which is hydration. A lot of us in the current world, we are suboptimally hydrated. I don't call dehydration. Dehydration is a clinical term where people really lose water and come to the hospital and all that. But I'm talking about suboptimal hydration, which means our body should contain 60% of water totally for males and about 55% for females. Like if I'm 100 kilos, for example, I should be 60 kilos water, and remaining 40 kilos is combination of my muscles, fat, and anything bones, anything else, cartilages and all those things. But 60% I should be water. And how much we drink consciously, mindfully, very less. And through my coaching program, even when I started my own health journey, when I got my total body water from the scans, it was about 40 to 45%. I thought it was just me. But as I started coaching my colleagues, doctor colleagues, friends, families, everybody, most of us were, even though they say they drank enough water, they still had total body water around 45 to 48% if you average it.
Okay.
Why water is very important? Water is the prime thing for any metabolic function to happen in the body. It is needed everywhere. And why suboptimal hydration is a problem is, suboptimal hydration makes your blood thicker, little thicker, because there is not enough water. And that's one of the risk factors. People can have clots without any other problems. Because whenever something stops or something is, like, for example, contrast and all that things. The more liquid the contrast, it easily flows.
Correct.
And more thicker it is, it stops and you have to really push. So do you want to reach to that stage by becoming suboptimally dehydrated? No, we don't want to. You should drink water. So from this podcast, if I can reach out to people and tell them, don't do anything what I'm saying to you if you don't want to, but at least please drink 3 liters of water every day. Some people think it might be too much for them, but believe me, it is not too much, because once we have to replenish whatever water we already running low on, plus we have to maintain ourselves as well.
Correct.
Even if you reach 60%, doesn't mean you will stop. You have to go on drinking. So one of the things I told you, it can cause clots. Second thing is kidney functions get affected because there's no circulation of water much in the body because they're not drinking much. Digestive problems, constipation, anything can happen. Even though you're very good in physical activity, very good with food, choosing foods, stress management, everything is done. But if the hydration is not addressed, you will not progress further. And second thing is, when you're dehydrated, like when you don't drink enough water, there is a hormone released called ADH. It's called anti-diuresis hormone, which means it stops your urine, your pee. Then when you're actually concentrated more, you want to conserve the water more, because the body thinks there is no water coming.
Okay.
So that also causes a problem. And why the ADH is a problem? Because ADH, when the antidiuretic hormone is released, it also stimulates the stress hormone cascade. The stress hormone cortisol gets released. And if this becomes a constant problem, you got a constant stress without your knowledge. And that stress can put you into other health, lifestyle-related health problems.
Sure. Okay.
Can you see where it's going? And other thing is, the antidiuretic hormone is released before you feel thirsty.
Okay.
Which I mean to say is, until you feel thirsty, if you don't drink water, the damage is already getting started. So that's why be mindful. Hydration. You have to hydrate, irrespective of what you eat, how much exercise you do, how good athlete you are, whatever you are. This is basic minimum requirement of 3 liters for males and 2.5 liters for females. In addition to this, if you do any activities where you are actually losing water, like high intensity exercises, running, all those things, you have to add more water. Because you're losing more, you have to add more. If you're in temperate climates or a tropical where too much heat is there and you're losing water, so as a sweat, add more water to this thing. But 3 liters is a minimum.
Sure.
Now, whenever you feel hungry,
Mm.
again, just to sum up the nutrition thing, because during fasting, if people eat only 3 meals a day, even if I give you 12-hour window to eat, if you eat 3 meals a day, which means every 4 hours you're eating. Yes? So why there is a necessity to snack in between? Because only 4 hours before you've eaten, maximum.
Correct.
Next meal is the next 4 hours. So whatever comes in between the hunger, it is not, you have to differentiate, is it a real hunger or it is psychological hunger or is it actually thirst? Because a lot of us as a human being, you can't differentiate between thirst and hunger. When we feel thirsty, when I get into for example, you're working in a hospital, you go into the coffee room, you feel thirsty, actually you're feeling thirsty, but when you see a lot of food around you, cakes, biscuits, chocolates, this, that, you actually go to eat them. You don't actually drink water. So what I'm saying is always differentiate, because every 4 hours you're eating food, unless you are not eating appropriately right food, there's always a problem. You keep on having hungers. And psychological hunger, like I'm only hungry for that pizza or for that cupcake or for that burger. That's not a true hunger. Because if I'm hungry, whatever is there, I should be able to satisfy my hunger. But if I give you a carrot stick or a celery stick when you feel you're hungry, and you say, I don't want that, I want a cake, which means you're not actually hungry, you are psychological hungry. So differentiate that. So first drink water, then differentiate real hunger or not, and then eat other things. This I wanted to convey.